Today we're going to talk about simple machines. Okay, we're going to talk about simple machines. Should be very much review. You have done this, I think, probably numerous times in your science career, talking about simple machines. Now, the first thing in the history of work, people use things by like pushing heavy loads by hand, or they use an animal. People use like oxen. You still see some of that, like in China. They don't use machines. We use tractors, okay, or vehicles. Oh, there's the animation. So people invented the simple machine. I mean, not really lots of that. 6 simple machines that we're going to talk about today are a lever, wheeled axle, pulley, inclined plane, wedge, and screw. Okay, a simple machine performs a task with only one movement. Okay, performs with only one movement. There are 4 things a simple machine can do. It can transfer some force from one place to another. It can change the direction of the force. It can increase the magnitude of the force. It can increase the distance or speed of a force. What can a simple machine not do? What? It cannot increase the amount of work done. Okay? A simple machine cannot increase the amount of work done. It can make that work easier, but it cannot do more work. Okay? Cannot do more work. Mechanical advantage is the vocab word, is a ratio of input to output force. The mechanical advantage is, what machines do. They give you a mechanical advantage. It makes things easier. And that's kind of what the mechanical advantage talks about. It's the ratio of output to input. So output force divided by input force. So the example there, if a machine increases, is input force is 10 pounds, output force is 100 pounds, mechanical advantage is 10. If it was 20, if the output was 20 and the input was 10, the mechanical advantage would have been 2. Okay, 20 divided by 2. Now, do you ever want to have a machine that has a mechanical advantage of less than 1? What would that mean? No is the correct answer. What would mechanical advantage of less than 1 mean? You put in more force than you get out of it. Okay, you put in more force than you get out of it. So that would not be a good thing. Now, a lot of things might only have a mechanical advantage of 1, but we always want the mechanical advantage to be greater than 1. Otherwise, you're wasting your time using the machine. Easier to do it a different way. No machine can increase the both magnitude and the distance of the force at the same time, okay? Because that's 2 things. A simple machine can only do 1 thing. A simple machine can only do 1 thing, 1 movement. First simple machine we're talking about is a lever. A lever is a rigid bar that rotates around a fixed point called the fulcrum. The fulcrum is an imaginary thing, okay? The fulcrum is the imaginary thing. It's really nothing on there. It's just the point that really never moves when you do it. The bar can either be curved or straight. Okay, the bar can either be curved or straight. And then in use, the lever has an effort. Okay, the effort is the force you apply to it, and the load is what you're picking up, what you're moving. So all those are examples of levers, okay, that you see on there. 3 classes of levers are first class, second class, and third class, determined by the location of the effort, load, and fulcrum, okay? I don't know why that slide's in there. So here are the 3 different classes of lever. You can see on a first class lever, these are things you need to know. In a first class lever, what's in the middle? The fulcrum, okay? In the second class lever, what's in the middle? The resistance or the load, okay? The load, okay? The effort is on the end. And in the third class lever, what's in the middle? The input or the effort, okay? Mechanical advantage is output force divided by the input force. So on a first class lever, the output would be from the fulcrum to resistance, the distance of that divided by the fulcrum to the input. First class lever, the fulcrum's in the middle. First class lever, the fulcrum's in the middle. First class lever only changes the direction of the force, okay? It doesn't do anything. First class lever would be a crowbar, scissors, pliers, 10 snips, and seesaws. So what part of the seesaw, if you think of a seesaw, it just goes up and down, up and down, up. Well, I can't really do it with my arms, okay? It goes up and down, up and down. What about the stapler? Is it a first class lever? What's the part that it rotates about? Right there in the middle, okay? So the fulcrum would be in the middle, okay? The fulcrum would be in the middle. Pliers okay, would be a first class lever because you have that little part where the two pieces go together. Same thing with scissors, where they don't move. Where they don't move. So there is the first class lever. The most common first class lever would be a seesaw. When people think of a first class lever, they typically think of a seesaw. Second class lever, the load is in the middle. Okay, the load is in the middle. When I would say a second class lever, I would say a wheelbarrow. Okay, why would I say a wheelbarrow? What part of the wheelbarrow it moves? The wheel. Okay, the part of the wheel. The wheel's at the end, isn't it? So that's telling you the fulcrum is at the end. Okay, the other end of the wheelbarrow is where you do the work, isn't it? That's where you pick it up. So that would have been the effort, and then the load is in the middle. The load is in the middle. So the same thing we're talking about right there. If this is a wheelbarrow, I'm picking up on a wheelbarrow. The wheel right here is not moving, and the load is right there in the middle. It multiplies the effort, but does not change the direction because the effort and the resistance are in the same direction, aren't they? Back here, the effort and the resistance were in two different directions. Effort went down. What happened to the resistance? It went up, didn't it? Third class lever. A third class lever would be would have the effort in the middle. Okay. The shovel is the easiest thing to talk about a third class lever. Okay, because you grab the shovel on the end or you grab it in the middle. What? You're not dead at the end? No. Okay. You're in the middle. Same thing with a baseball bat would be another example of a third class lever, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Because what? Well, there's some somewhere. I don't know where it is. Over there. So if you want to think of a baseball bat, okay, if you want to think of a baseball bat, use this as a baseball bat. People that play baseball should know this. You don't grab it at the very end, do you? What's at the very end of it? A knob. There's a knob at the end of a baseball bat, isn't there? So you can't slide your hand. You grab it right here. So when you grab it at the end, okay, and you swing, okay, my hand. Sit back down. Here's the part that never moves, correct?
Right.
All this is moving. This part right here does not move. The end of it does not move, okay? So the fulcrum's on the end. My input is in the middle, correct? Because that's where my hand is in the middle. And the output would be where? At the end, okay? So in this one, my input is in the fulcrum's right here. The fulcrum is the part that does not move. The fulcrum is the part that does not move. So it is right here. It's not moving. It's in a spot. I can still move it. I'm applying my effort, my input in the middle, and the end of the bat is where you hit it, okay? So a baseball bat, a shovel, all those things would be a third class lever. It doesn't change the direction of the force. Why? Because which way am I pushing it? I'm going this way, and which way is the output going to go? Oh, yeah, forward. I mean, I know some people that can't hit a baseball. I'm not going to mention any names, Owen Willis, and so they wouldn't really know how that works. So it's the same thing I just demonstrated, okay? Here's the baseball bat. Here's in the knob that you hold. There's the effort, and that's why you see baseball kids. What should you do? Most people say, shorten up your swing, choke up when you have two strikes. Choke up when you have two strikes. Okay. What that's doing is that's changing your mechanical advantage. Okay. Typically, when people choke up, do they hit the ball as hard? Yeah. No. Typically, they do not. Okay. They do not. But they have better control over the end of it. Okay. That's why you're choking up. Choking up on a baseball bat is reducing the mechanical advantage. This should have a great mechanical advantage, wouldn't it? Because the mechanical advantage is always input divided by output. Output divided by input. Input would be from E to F, a short number, correct? Output would be from R to F. That's a lot bigger, isn't it? And the more you choke up, baseball players, you want to make your input there, you want to choke up a lot, that's reducing your mechanical advantage. Reducing your mechanical advantage. A wheel and axle, we all know this, okay? A wheel and axle is a simple machine consisting of a large wheel rigidly secured to a smaller wheel or shaft called an axle. So, We all know the most common type of wheel and axle, don't we? I mean, the picture of it's right there. Your car has a wheel and axle, correct?
Yeah.
That's the most common type. Now, let me ask you a question. Is this the wheel and axle?
Yeah.
Certainly. You have a larger wheel that's attached to what?
Smaller.
A smaller thing. Certainly. Okay. So that's definitely a wheel and axle. Now, I just did. Is this water bottle a wheel and axle?
No.
You have a larger wheel, don't you?
No.
This part of it attached to a smaller shaft, don't you? What? A wheel is just defined as something round, okay, circular. Okay. You want your water back? Sure. You have to put water back, not the water bottle.
He got sit there. He knew.
I'm not. So that's a common mistake that people think. A wheel and axle, okay. We only think of a car, okay. A screwdriver. Already seen that it's a first class. We already seen that it's a first class lever, correct? It is also a wheel and axle, isn't it? I wish I had one in here. I'm sorry I don't have. All right, so here's a screwdriver. People don't know what a screwdriver looks like. I would assume so. So our wheel, let me find my mouse. Don't want Darius to eat it.
Man, you did that yesterday, man.
So our wheel would be this handle right here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Our axle would be the long, skinny shaft, okay? Keep in mind, the wheel and the axle, if you turn the wheel, does the axle turn?
No.
Yes. You turn the wheel, does the axle turn? Yes. Your axle turns in your vehicle. Okay. If I turn, same thing with my Yoo-hoo bottle. I have a wheel, the fat part right here, and I have the axle right here. If I turn the wheel, does the axle turn? Okay. If I turn the axle, does the wheel turn? Yeah. So that's a wheel and axle. So anything like that would be a wheel and axle. Screwdriver is an excellent example. It can be used as a first class lever. It can also be used as a wheel and axle. Okay. One of your questions on your homework is to talk about the IMA of a wheel and axle. Okay. You find your IMA of a wheel and axle by doing the radius of the wheel divided by the radius of the axle. Okay. The radius of the wheel divided by the radius of the axle. We know this, okay? We know this. What type of car did you say you're getting, Koterion? Okay. Are you going to go put, I don't know exactly off the top of my head. But let's just say it takes 17-inch rims, okay? Are you going to go put some 22-inch tires on it? No. Okay, because its mechanical advantage has already been calibrated. Did you realize because we know this, if I take something, let's look at this bottle right here, which is a wheel and axle. There's my wheel right here, okay, the fat part. There's my axle, okay? And then let's take this thing right here. I'm going to turn each one of these things one time, okay? I'm going to turn each one of these things one time. Let me make a mark on the top of that thing so I can see it. Okay. So I'm going to turn each thing one time. That made it to there, okay? That made it to there. Which one had the greater mechanical advantage? Because it went further, didn't it? Okay. if you take your vehicle and you put different size wheels on it than it says, you're going to change your speed, your speedometer. Your speedometer is going to be wrong, okay? Because your vehicle is set up, is already calibrated with mechanical advantage to know what type, how far you turn your wheel. One turn of a big wheel is it covers a lot more ground than a turn of a smaller wheel, okay? So if you put a bigger tire on a vehicle than it should, you're going 70 mile an hour, you're probably actually going to be, in fact, faster than 70 mile an hour, okay? Put a smaller tire on it, your speedometer is going to read too fast. Next thing we're talking about is a pulley. Okay, we're talking about a pulley. A pulley consists of a grooved wheel that turns freely and a frame called a block. Okay, pulley can be used simply to change the direction of the force, okay, or gain a mechanical advantage. A fixed pulley is something that does not move. Okay, it only changes the direction of the force. So back in the back of my classroom, okay, back in the back of my classroom, I have a fixed pulley back here. Okay, some of you can see them. There's actually two pulleys. Right here's the pulley, okay? Right here's the pulley. And it's moving. It's a type of a wheel and axle, isn't it? Because it has a wheel and an axle in it, okay? But it has a chain or rope in it, okay? It has a chain or rope in it. In a vehicle where your belts are, that's a pulley system, isn't it? Okay? Because you have, I don't use a chain or a rope, but the belt would be a thing, isn't it? A fixed pulley only has a mechanical advantage of one. A fixed pulley only has a mechanical advantage of one. It only changes the direction of the force. That's how it makes it easier, okay? Like I like to think of like a deer. It's deer season. And I know some people out here know about the deers. Not right for babies. But you've seen people and they horse stuff up. Is it easier to pull something down to pick it up or something heavy or just to raise it up yourself?
I don't know, man.
People ain't never done any work.
I ain't never been different. I
It
don't know.
ain't been this deer do things all the time. It's easier just to pull down, isn't it? If I want to get something to that ceiling, it's easier for me to lift it up over my head or put a chain on it and pull the chain. Pull the chain. Okay? That's a fixed pulley. Okay? That's a fixed pulley. It gives you a mechanical advantage of one. It only changes the direction. Now, the easiest thing to do would be to use a movable pulley. Okay? A movable pulley. In a car shop, okay, in a car shop, that's what they use. They use movable pulleys. Okay? They use movable pulleys. The pulley moves as you do it. Okay? And it allows to pick up an engine or something like that. Okay? Allows you to have great mechanical advantage. The mechanical advantage of a pulley is equal to the number of ropes that support the movable pulley. Okay, the more ropes, the more advantage, the more mechanical advantage. Okay, like I have a movable pulley in my shop. I pull one of the chains, and it will raise the pulley up. Okay, it will raise the pulley up. Makes it easier to use. Now, what's a system of pulleys? Block and tackle. That was a vocabulary term. Okay, the IMA of a block and tackle is equal to the IMA of a block and tackle is equal to the number of pulleys. Okay, that's a pulley. An inclined plane is a sloping surface. Okay, it makes it easier to move a weight from a lower to higher elevation. Okay, once again, it cannot increase the amount of work done. It just makes it easier. IMA is the length of the height, the length of the effort arm divided by the height. We know this. It's easier to walk up. Is it easier to walk up as, let me get to where I want to go. Which one's it easier to go up? The first one. We know this. This is common sense, okay? It's easier. It's easier to go up. Now notice, does the amount of work does the work change? Let's see this again. The work's always the same, isn't it? On all three of them. They're all 8.82. They're all 8.82. They're all 8.82. Now, what changed? The displacement changed, didn't it? Which one had the highest displacement? This first one, okay? It was flatter, and it took less force to get it there, okay? Took less force to get it there. That's what an inclined plane is. So give me an example of an inclined plane, say maybe your house or somewhere. What? Stairs is the best example of an inclined plane, okay? Now, is it 100% flat? No, you go up, down, up, down, up, down. But it is an inclined plane because you can put a board on it, and when they cut it, it just goes straight up. That would be an inclined plane in your house, okay? I would hope, give me another example of an inclined plane in your house. Somebody might not know about this. I'm not going to put any elbows.
What you say that people?
I'm not saying to anybody. Elbow just happened. I'm not putting any elbows about it. Give me another example of an inclined plane in your house. Your stairs are a great example. Give me another one.
The basement, the attic.
Your roof would be one, wouldn't it? What about your bathtub? Would be well, your shower, bathtub, same thing. Okay. Is your bathtub or shower flat? No. What's the lowest part of your bathtub or your shower? The drain. Doesn't look, isn't it slightly sloped so that the water goes down the drain? I know some people don't know about that. It's stuff in my head. Stuff in my head. Does that make sense? I won't just fine. So your bathtub would be another example of an inclined plane. Your stairs, your roof, okay, there's some things like that. The road is typically, typically thing there. Well, you don't. Does a road in the mountains go straight up? Then what do they typically do? Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. Because what they're doing is they're increasing the length. Okay, they're increasing the length. The height doesn't change, but they can make the length longer. Okay, they can make the length longer. A wedge is another type of simple machine. It's a type of inclined plane. Okay, a wedge is one or two inclined planes that act together. Give me an example of a wedge in your house.
The hallway.
No, probably on inclined planes. What? A window? No. Something that is two or more inclined planes. Probably not. What is something that can use to separate things? That's what a wedge does. A knife. And a knife is two more inclined planes used to separate, correct?
You could have said an item.
What thing in your house? Okay.
What if people don't got no knife in the house?
What about scissors? Are they a wedge?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because now they're also a first class lever, but the cutting part of them is actually a wedge. What about a doorstop? Is that a wedge?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's boom and boom. Okay. Two or more flunks that come together. A wedge, a doorstop, thing that's just not in like the gym doors in there, those triangle things. And they go from there. So anything usually to cut anything would be a wedge. You have a picture of an axe there. Okay, that would be a wedge. But a straight screwdriver that we just saw, would that be a wedge also? The end of it would most certainly be because it comes together like that. But a knife is pretty much your best example of an inclined plane. A screw is another type of inclined plane. There are different types of screws, correct? Said screws. A nail would also be a wedge, wouldn't it? Because the end of it has a wedge, correct?
Yeah, that was for,
So a screw is a type of inclined plane, okay? It's also a wedge in a way. So here are all screws, okay? We all know just your typical screw. It is an inclined plane wrapped around a cylindrical post, okay? It's inclined plane wrapped around a cylindrical post. So we all know that a normal screw is a screw. I mean, that's kind of common sense. A drill bit is a screw. We have an inclined plane, see the circles going around it, around a post. Your soda cap lid would be a screw also, wouldn't it? Because that's how you get things to stay on, okay? How you get things to stay on. Are there any staircases that are a screw? In fact, there are. A spiral staircase, like the one going in the auditorium or somewhere where the staircase goes in a circle, okay? That would be a screw, okay? Because it's an inclined plane wrapped around a post, okay? That's the thing with a screw. On the top of this bottle, I have an inclined plane, the little things you see, wrapped around something circular. Who's ever used screws before?
Me.
There's different types of screws for different types of things, correct?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the mechanical advantage, okay? Is it easier to put a fine thread screw in or a coarse thread screw in? Fine or coarse? Fine thread. Fine thread doesn't take as much battery power because it has a greater mechanical advantage, okay? The number of turns per inch. So the more turns a screw has, per inch would be the more mechanical advantage. So like this one has a, let's say that's an inch, has a lot more. This has how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 turns. You see that? How many turns does jar lid have? 1, 2. So which thing has a greater mechanical advantage? No. Which one has more turns? The screw would. Okay, the screw would. In an inch, let's say so it has 1, 2, 3, 4. That's about an inch there. So this screw right here would have the greatest mechanical advantage. This drill bit being second, and then this jar lid being third. So there's a bolt, there's a screw, and another example of a screw in there. Inclined plane, and you see the post there. Go ahead. What? Oh, you had a question. Oh, you're saying something. Efficiency is kind of a lot like mechanical advantage. Efficiency is a percent, okay? Is a percent. Big thing to think about this, efficiency is never 100%, okay? Efficiency is never 100% because of friction. Now, efficiency is never 100% because of friction. Now, what do you lose as a result of friction?
2 equals 20.
What do you lose as a result of friction? What type of energy? No. What type of energy do you lose as a result of friction? Thermal energy or heat, okay? So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking today about the types of simple machines. You have a worksheet. I'll get this video processed and get it posted along with the worksheet, okay?